I may have a tiny bitty problem buying things that, well, I probably just shouldn't be buying. I always see things and I'm like, well, oof, that looks cool, or that looks cool, or I'm definitely gonna be using this, than just sitting in my studio, just wasting away. I've got some really cool mounts for my Insta360 virtual reality camera. The idea behind these was to get some really cool action shots in the water. Unfortunately, it was just too complicated, didn't pan out. Hard to get surfers to pal out with this kind of a thing. And so, just like everything else you've seen, they just sit around collecting dust. All right, this next one is probably my biggest impulse buy. The RC Surfer. The concept of this to film surfing with, insane. Like, look at that angle you could get. You know, you put that little tiny camera in here, shows this guy surfing. It's really cool for POV angles, but I just didn't end up using it all that much. Seeing this again makes me want to take it back out and try to play around with it, especially when it's smaller like today. And here's another one I don't use at all anymore. Delmar water housing. I just don't use it anymore. But now with the invention of these guys, shoot phenomenal. A lot lighter, a lot smaller. There's a fun one I haven't used for years. This one mounts onto a car or even a wall, has these suction cups on there, and then you just mount it right up here. It's got the ball head to loosen both sides up, ball head down here, but I don't like putting cameras on cars. Once again, I don't really do a lot where I'm driving around using a car. So I literally haven't used this for, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years. I've also got action camera poles. Got anything from this guy here, which can stretch out a decent amount. Then we've got these two. I'll show you the new one. They're both real similar. What this is for is that Insta360 camera. And now this guy can go about 10 feet out. This allows me to use like a drone. Here's another one I just never use. I've flown it like a handful of times. It's really cool and all, but you know, I don't use it enough. It just sits. I bought this one. I think I've flown it twice in like 2 years. I like the idea of adding aerial footage. They just kind of annoy me flying over my head, and so I hate to be the one that's flying one of these over someone else's head. Now this one I fully thought I was going to use every day. I was sold the bill of goods on this thing. I thought for sure it's a cool cage for my cell phone. I use my cell phone for a lot of B-roll until I started using it and realized that the reason I like using my cell phone for B-roll is that it fits into my pocket. Once I put this cage on it, it no longer fit in my pocket, which means more steps, etc. So I might as well use my big camera. So I no longer use the cage anymore. Now, as I mentioned, I use my cell phone to do a lot of B-roll and also interviews. So I purchased a bunch of different wireless microphone systems. The problem I keep finding is that you want to have a case on your cell phone to protect it, but when you go to connect the transmitter to it, it doesn't fit snug. So sometimes you're filming and you're not getting any sound at all. So each one of these just sitting around. And finally, action cameras. Now, I have a lot of action cameras sitting around collecting dust, but not because, I just never used them. It's because technology is upgraded, giving us higher resolution, better sensors, etc. So I don't know why I still keep them around, but I do. Maybe they bring back good memories of things I filmed with them, etc. Thanks for watching this episode about some ridiculous camera equipment I purchased. I'm Brad Jacobson, and I'll see you on the sand.